Learn English Podcast.
Today we're diving into English verb conjugation. Now, on the surface, it looks way simpler than, say, French or Spanish, right? With all their endings. But here's where it gets interesting. English used to be full of those endings. It evolved, and the complexity didn't just vanish, it sort of shifted, went undercover.
Exactly. That shift is fascinating. Modern English, fewer direct verb endings. But the grammatical heavy lifting, it didn't disappear. It just transferred, moved on to other things. Things like these intricate tense aspect combinations and a whole system of helper verbs. So you're not memorizing endings maybe, but you're navigating something else, a different kind of complexity.
Okay, tense aspect combinations. That sounds definitely more involved than just past, present, future. So what exactly is aspect in English then?
Good question. It's about how an action unfolds over time. Tense tells you when, right? Past, present, future. But aspect describes let's say, the flow or the completion of it. So think like, I walked, simple past, done, finished action. But I was walking, that's progressive, it was ongoing. And I have walked, that's perfect aspect. It connects a past action to the present somehow. You combine tense and aspect, and that's how you get the 12 main forms, like that one, the present perfect continuous, I have been walking.
Ah, right. Okay. So English verbs have these layers. Makes sense.
Yeah.
But why is it sometimes so, quirky? You walked simple enough, but then it's eat, ate, eaten. Why?
Yeah, that irregularity raises a really important point about linguistic history. Many of those irregular verbs like your eat or drink, sing, swim, they're basically relics. They go back to older Germanic forms, these strong verbs. And they change tense not by adding an ending, but by changing an internal vowel sound. Linguists have a term for this.
Ablaut.
Ablaut. Okay, internal vowel change. Exactly. And what's also quite surprising is how this plays out over time. See, irregular verbs that aren't used very often tend to, they regularize. Like people used to say help for the past of help. Now it's just helped. Regular. But, and this is the key, the really, really common irregular verbs, be, have, do, go, they resist that change. Their constant use basically protects their regularity.
Like linguistic celebrities who don't follow the trends. Okay, so putting this all together, what does this mean practically for someone learning English? I know that little S for the third person, she walks, he eats, that often trips people up. And the verb to be, am, is, are, was, were. It's all over the place.
Absolutely. That third-person singular S is a classic example of residual complexity, a little fossil left over. And yes, to be is totally unique. It's the most irregular verb we have, probably because it's just so fundamental, Expressing existence states, it needs that flexibility. And it's also crucial to grasp the role of those other helper verbs, the auxiliaries.
Like be, have, and do.
Right. They do a lot of work. They carry tense information, help form questions, negatives. And then you have the modal verbs too. Can, could, will, would, must. They're interesting because they don't conjugate. The verb after them stays simple in its base form. So they simplify the form, but they add all these layers of meaning, possibility, obligation, prediction.
Okay, so for learners, the mistakes aren't just about getting the form wrong, like eated instead of ate. It's often deeper.
Yeah, exactly. Common errors are things like subject-verb agreement, forgetting that S, for instance, or using the wrong tense or aspect for the context. Often their native language structure influences this. And the real issue, the bottleneck, can be if these forms aren't automatized. If you have to consciously think about every verb form, your working memory gets overloaded. It just makes fluency really, really difficult, like trying to speak while constantly consulting a grammar book in your head.
That makes total sense. It needs to become automatic. So what does the research say works best for actually learning these? How do we get that automaticity?
Well, it's definitely not just memorizing charts, though that has its place initially. Pedagogical research really points towards contextual learning. using the verbs in realistic situations and meaningful communication. Things like visual timelines can also be super helpful for understanding tense and aspect. And technology plays a big role now. Interactive apps, exercises, they're great for the sheer practice needed to make retrieval fast and accurate to achieve that automaticity.
The English verbs, they might look simple on the outside, but underneath, it's this really dynamic, intricate system. It's less about endings and more about this interplay of auxiliaries, aspects, and these subtle rules.
Precisely. It's a system that's constantly, subtly evolving, even if it seems stable. Which, looking at that big picture of language change, it really raises an interesting question for you to think about. Will even those super frequent irregular verbs, the big ones like be or have, will they eventually give in to this pressure to regularize centuries down the line? Or are they just too fundamental, too ingrained to ever change, truly fixed?